Is my grandpa secretly Commissioner Gordon? What burger of the day do I want to eat today?
How does Ben Grimm have children?
How is Hope gonna get herself out of this one?
Let's have a conversation.
Hello, welcome to Conversations with the Goob. This week's episode is technically the very first one. Last week was a nice conversation we had, but it was more of a PSA than a conversation. Let's have a fun one this week. See, there's this comic book called The Superior Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. He is probably my ultimate favorite superhero in Marvel. And then Superior Spider-Man was a really great read. So spoilers ahead, if you haven't read the issues, they've been out for a while now. If you plan on reading them and you don't want to be spoiled, please click away. I'll start by giving a quick little synopsis on Superior Spider-Man. So in issue, I believe it was 700 of The Amazing Spider-Man, Doc Ock invented this golden Octobot that was able to transfer his mind into Peter Parker's body and vice versa. So they switched bodies. So now he's out running loose as Peter Parker, and Peter Parker's mind is trapped in his decaying body. He's dying. He probably only has like hours to live. So Peter's spending the day trying to figure a way to get his body back. He finds the golden Octobot and figures it all out, and he gets into this big battle with Doc Ock in his body, and pretty much he's unable to get his mind switched back, and he's only able to like push all of his memories into his old body. And so now his memories are mixing with Otto Octavius's memories and creating, hi Lionel, Lionel likes Superior Spider-Man too. He creates this a new he pretty much makes him good. So now let's get you off the table, honey. So then that ends up, then we get to the first run of Superior Spider-Man, and in it, Otto Octavius calls himself, he wants to be a hero like Peter was, but he's going to be better. He's going to be superior. Somehow Peter Parker's mind regrows itself inside of the body, but it's not even really him. It's just a collection of all of his memories, or maybe what they were going for was that both minds were occupying the same body. That's my first question. If any of you know the answer to that, please leave it down in the comments. Like, I'd like to converse about that. Like, it's just all of a sudden, we were told that he's dead and only his memories were transferred, but now there's this consciousness inside of Doc Ock that is Peter Parker's mind, and Doc Ock has to go inside of the mind himself and pretty much puts him behind a firewall so that he can have full control of his own body. This all accumulates into this big battle with some bad guy. I don't even remember who the bad guy was, but he's killing the guy that Otto Octavius had fallen in love with while he was living his life, and he realizes that he's not good enough to save the day and save his new girlfriend. So he gives his mind back to Peter Parker, and in a way he deletes his own brain. So now this collection of Peter's memories are now in control of Peter's body, and everything goes on as normal. Peter's dealing with all the things that Doc Ock has done while he was in his body. I'm still confused though, is it actually Peter Parker? It's just really a collection of memories, right? It wasn't even really his consciousness. That's confusing. There is a little bit in between that I didn't get any books for, and I would love to, if there's a volume collection of them, the Superior Octopus, where it brings back the Clone Wars, and so somebody clones a body that's a hybrid of Doc Ock's body and Peter Parker's body, and then somehow Superior Spider-Man had actually saved his consciousness in the living brain as opposed to deleting it like they thought he did. So then he uploaded it into this clone body and was being a villain again, calling himself the superior octopus. And then that all turns into him deciding to live good life, and now he is back to being Superior Spider-Man, living in Los Angeles and saving the day. And it was a really good run. It only ran 15 issues. So here's the big spoiler. I am going to spoil the complete ending to the series. I don't like how they chose to end it. So this this Osborn from another dimension, one of the multiverses, he's got spider powers himself, comes into our world to destroy Superior Spider-Man, and they fight. And then he realizes that because he's too goody-goody, because of all of Peter's memories, he's unable to actually defeat the guy. So now he makes a deal with, I think it was Mephisto, to for the one more day thing. And Mephisto's like, I'm tired of doing these one more day things, you know? I'll give you back your original body, but you're not getting it for one day. It'll be permanent. And so what he does is he says, I won't give you any of the brain damage that you had. Because that was Otto's biggest thing, is the only reason he's a villain is because he had brain damage, and that's why he did bad things. So he gives him back his body. Well, it ends with him being kind of good. Like, we've had all this growth for Otto Octavius, and even though he took out the memories of him, of knowing who Peter Parker is, he still has all of his memories of when he was going by the name Tobias, and he has all the memories of being Tobias in his mind. And maybe it was Tobin. Sorry, brain fart there. And so he had all this growth, all this character development, and this great change. And it ends with him going back into being, into Otto Octavius's normal body. And he talks to all the people. He set up like a fund with money for this young boy that was just a stranger to him anyways. And he shows up to the girl that, was working with him and like was making him good, and she's like, I can tell that you want me to fight for you to stay. And it ends with that scene that we've seen many times before, the Spider-Man No More cover, where you have Spider-Man's suit in the trash can and Spider-Man walking off into the sunset or the rain or the alley or whatever it is whenever they draw it. And so it has his Superior Spider-Man suit in the trash can, and he's walking off in his trench coat. And it just leaves me with so many questions, because we have not seen Doc Ock since then. You have all this growth, and one of the things I'm worried about that I think Marvel and a lot of comic books tend to do, they do all this growth, all this character development with a character, but then they want to revert the character back to who they were originally because, well, he's Doc Ock. If you don't have Doc Ock, who's going to be the tentacle, bad guy that fights Spider-Man? Like, who's his villain going to be then? Like, he's perfect for so many situations, and so they're just going to have him go back to being a villain and ignore all of this growth. Like, I feel like it's just going to be gone. I really wish that it had lasted. Like, I don't know why they felt the need to revert him back after only 15 issues. Maybe that's all that was requested of it, or maybe they have a nice big storyline in the air, to make with Doc Ock being a villain, and they needed him to be back to being Doc Ock in order to do it. I loved the storyline, and I loved the growth for Otto Octavius, and even though he's not got the spider powers anymore, I would love for him to fight crime and be a good guy, or even an anti-hero like how Venom had turned into, and Venom wasn't killing anymore and he was still saving the day, and do that with Doc Ock. Like, there's so much growth in these stories. It was so good. Superior Spider-Man will always probably be my favorite Spider-Man. Just, the way, his outfit being so dark and still got the spiderness to it, and he would, he fought crime in his own way. Like, he would, he cared but didn't care at the same time. It was like, I need to do this. I don't care if I blow up that building over there. He hired henchmen. He had these other villains that he hired, and since they pretty much are only evil because they get hired to do evil things, they were doing good things, and in the end they're like, well, now what are we going to do? and he kind of tells them to keep being good without actually saying keep being good. I'm just so curious. Like, do you have any thoughts? Has anyone else read this? Do you have any thoughts about what you think's going to happen to Doc Ock? And do you think that Marvel's just going to revert him back to being a villain and just continue with him doing bad? And would you also be disappointed in that, or are you excited to see him back to being a villain? I'm not. I love the growth that they gave him in Superior Spider-Man. And I'm actually really sad that it ended with him going back to being normal. Like, he could have even been Doc Ock saving the day in Los Angeles with his new crew that he had. It was such a good read, and I'm sad to see it go. Give me your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And thanks for having a conversation with me. And just remember, folks, you don't have to have superpowers to be a hero.